Third try is the charm. They say Saturn delays, but he never denies. So you must persevere when Saturn is in the astrological mix as he is today. So now we're doing the silent version. Some of you may have seen my Mars-Uranus version of the video. I had the same exact thing happen on the new moon when we had Mars, Rahu, Uranus, and now we have the square with the full moon with Mars, Rahu, Uranus. So I had the same problem with outdoor motor machine sounds. This is a metaphor for life right now. You could be trying to get to the Saturnian silence, and then there's like Mars, Rahu, Uranus. Right when you sit down to have your nice quiet moment, it's like grating, something grating on your nervous system, something grating on your nerves, you know? So patience, perseverance is the key right now for this full moon. So don't give up, persevere. As my beloved Amachi likes to say, never give up, never feel defeated. So this is that kind of moon. Never give up, never feel defeated. Look to where you feel the most obstacles, the most stagnation, the most challenge, because that's also where you're going to have the greatest breakthrough right now. The blessing in disguise, or the silver lining in a lot of this dark energy we've felt recently, because Saturn is a death energy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But with the Mars, Rahu, Uranus conjunction, and also the ongoing dance between between Saturn and Uranus, there is an opportunity to break through. It could be a breakdown, it could be a break in, it could be a break out, or a breakthrough. Something is breaking, something needs to be let out of its shackles, out of its chains. And Saturn slows us down. Saturn asks us to conserve our energy, to be reverential, to be patient, to be mindful and aware of each and every action. So if ever there was a full moon to challenge whatever's been reckless, whatever's been unconscious, whatever has gotten you into hot water before, you could feel Saturn's really putting the brakes on the way you do Mars, depending on how you're doing Mars. If you're overreactive, if you're overworking, if you're overly addicted to something, if you're wasting energy on something, if you're being wasteful, if you're needing to rein it in some fashion, Saturn is really going to show up in that part of your life and say, okay, enough is enough. And you may be feeling that, like that enough is enough energy right now. So to really pay reverence to Saturn is to say, okay, I'm going to make the change. I'm going to, no matter how much effort and perseverance and ongoing commitment to showing up to do the work, I'm going to show up to do that. So that's going to make Saturn really happy right now. And as I mentioned, there's a death energy with Saturn because Saturn is about endings. In the tarot, it's the 21st major arcana. It's the world card. It's like Shiva's Tandava dance. So it's the dance of destruction, but then from that destruction brings a whole new cycle, because then the whole thing starts over again with the Fool, which is Uranus, which is kind of interesting. So I think this full moon is also showing us the dance between the end of one cycle. This is also the ongoing Saturn-Uranus square. The end of one cycle, which is the world, the beginning of the new cycle, which is Uranus, the Fool archetype. So we're between lives, all of us, and we're like, okay, what's next? What's coming? We don't know. There's always a wild card with Uranus. So we need to. This was a beautiful message I woke up to on the full moon day this morning after my epic 10-hour sleep, which was amazing. So I had actually fallen asleep to one of my favorite movies, which is the story of Ramakrishna's life. And because I was watching that, I woke up to a talk by one of his disciples. Actually, that was filmed in New York City, believe it or not. So, and he said something so beautiful and so Saturnian, which is that the three biggest blocks to our spiritual progress are fear, which is very Saturn. I know you think I'm going to say guilt, because I always make videos about fear, guilt, and shame. But he actually said fear hatred and shame. So wherever you're harboring any, you could put guilt with a shame, but if you feel embarrassed or you judge yourself or you're holding any shame in the body, that's going to really block your spiritual progress. So you can offer that up to the full moon. Wherever you're holding on to any hatred, offer that up to the full moon. Wherever you're holding any fear, offer that up to the full moon. Saturn will support those offerings right now, 100%. And to keep doing the work to eradicate those from your psyche and from your behavioral patterns. Like, we have to keep showing up to do the work in those 3 arenas. So at this full moon, we've also got Venus in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn, which is creating a lot of deep pulling out from the psychic basement or the skeletons in the closet of the relationships. All of that could be coming up for awareness and purification right now. Like, a lot of shadow material in the way we relate and our needs and our patterns and our even our attachment style. So looking to how that creates power dynamics in your relationships, because Pluto always reveals hidden aspects of power. It's the shadow of power. So like how you use power over other people, or how power's been used over you. And just how that might not be working for you anymore. And Pluto's always about a deep evolutionary change. It's always asking us to really do the deeper work, to make the changes. So really consider where that's not working for you anymore. And then Saturn, now at this full moon, ending a cycle, it's also asking us what we started 6 months ago at that new moon in February in Aquarius, which is now culminating now, which is culminating now in the full moon. This is in tropical or in Western, and if you follow Vedic, it was the new moon in Capricorn and now the full moon in Capricorn. It's in the Dhanishta Nakshatra, this full moon, for those of you who follow the Vedic astrology. So it's the nakshatra, or that portion of the stars that has the symbol of it's actually Shiva's drum. It's the again, the Tandava dance. That's why I mentioned the Tandava dance earlier. And it's asking us to pay attention to the rhythm of our lives. What is your internal rhythm? And the rhythm of time, because Saturn's also about time. So Saturn's also asking us to look at where we've been wasting our time or not conscious about the way we've been spending our time, and just where we've been wasteful in general, but especially with time. Like, time is our most precious commodity, as they say. It's the most precious thing we have in this life. And when it's finished, and we can't get it back. That's what my guru also always says. Like, it's the one thing you can never get back. So use this full moon to really look at where you want to be spending your time. Don't have too many regrets, but use any of those things that want to come up as a regret, like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have spent more time on that, or why am I still procrastinating on this? Use this full moon to break that cycle of procrastination, or whatever you've been putting off, to the tomorrow that never, of course, comes, tomorrow that's never here, to finally redouble your efforts and your commitments. Don't give up. Again, Saturn delays, but he doesn't deny. So really double down on the things that are really important to you, that you don't want to let more time pass, that you really want to put as your focus. I started working on my book hardcore last February, and now at this cycle, so that was the beginning, just to give you an example of something, and you could think about what that is in your own life, like something you started last February that now is requiring you to really go in Saturn style and do all of those difficult but necessary, like going over it, refining it, making it better, looking for how to improve the quality of the thing, and how to bring it into the world practically. So it's not as much fun, the Saturn part of it, but it's necessary. It's not necessarily the creative part of the project, but it's the part where you have to really get the structure down, right? So you may be looking at something like that, and you may be looking at an ending in your life or completion of a cycle, and you're wondering what the next cycle is going to be. And it's like we're so close, but we don't know exactly what it is. And that can be frustrating, but we're going to all find out, hopefully sooner than later, what is coming next. So let's stay tuned and see what comes. And I will be back with a few more videos now that I'm in places where I have better Wi-Fi and reception. I can make videos. On my way to Delhi for the inauguration of the Faridabad hospital, that almost charitable hospital that she's opening up in Delhi on August 24th. So this is my travel, making my way up there. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and lots of blessings.